What's up guys, my name is Chad and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my first book review and it's going to be a review for It, written by Stephen King. So, the first thing I want to say about this book is just... Does that look okay there? Yeah, it looks fine. So, we're going to start this review by looking at the plot and then later we'll look at the characters and then just how the book works as a whole.
Come on, let's do this.
The plot is really interesting for a horror novel. The way that it's set in two different timelines, and it's not like the one timeline's just there to be a few flashbacks, it is fully, this is an entire story, this is an entire story, we're going to move back and forth from them. It's just a really cool concept, and for it to work for a over 1,000-page horror epic, it just works together really nicely, and considering Stephen King is more of a, described himself as a pantser, a writer who just kind of more writes and just kind of see where the story takes him. I can imagine how much editing he had to do to make everything fit together as well as it did. Or maybe he was just able to sit down and write it, the alternating timelines just perfectly the first time, but I don't know. Either way, the way they flow is really impressive, and I've really enjoyed that aspect of it. And then the plot itself is really interesting. The idea of a group of kids going against a psychotic clown who has been killing kids for the past centuries and never been able to be stopped is really incredible. And I think it's one of those rare instances where I think the promise of the synopsis of a demon clown killing children is really delivered on the book. It's exactly what you think it's going to be. There's a bunch of kids, there's a clown killing them, and it's just... that's what it's about, and I thought that was really awesome. That being said, the one negative of the plot is weighed down with a lot of extra information. This being a Stephen King novel, being 1,100 pages long, not every single sentence in the book, at least in my opinion, was 100% needed. A lot of it could have been trimmed out, not to the degree that some people claim. I've seen some negative reviews say it should have been cut in half. Nothing like that, but I feel like there's at least, usually every chapter, I feel like you could have removed 1 or 2 pages from every chapter, just some extra descriptions of the land, the setting. I think that would have really helped the pace of the book because it does feel very slow in some sections, and I just felt like I was waiting to get to the next big important thing. That's just the one con I had with it. But where this book really shines is the characters. The characters in it are way better than I ever expected them to be. So I've said this before, I'm more of a plot-driven reader. If the characters are great, I'll love them, but it's not the driving force. But for it really was. The plot was good, but the plot was basic. The characters is what carried the story, and I really enjoyed it. Mainly because of the Losers Club themselves. For it to be 1,100 pages of a character-driven story, the characters have to be really good, and the Losers Club were incredible. Bill was probably my personal favorite, either Bill or Richie. They're kind of tied for... I liked Richie because he was super funny, and then Bill was just kind of the leader. But every single one of them were incredible. Ben was also really cool, Beverly, Mike, Stanley. Eddie had a really great moment at the end that I really liked. So overall, all the characters were just incredible. They were really people you rooted for, and the book wasn't as scary as I expected. It wasn't, I don't think, keep you up at night terrifying. It might be to some people, but to me it really wasn't. Where the fear came from was really just afraid what was going to happen to the characters. I just really wanted, you really want the Losers Club to like win at the end and everything to work out. So I was really impressed by how well the characters themselves were written. But of course my favorite character in the book is definitely Pennywise himself. The clown manages to be so menacing and just so terrifying. He also has that ability that I like in villains, where he can be really terrifying while also really enjoying himself. Like Pennywise at certain points really seems like he's having fun, almost like Joker to an extent. They're killing people, but it's like they were meant to do this, let's just kill them all. I really enjoy that aspect of a villain when it can do that without being campy or cartoony. It can be really threatening while still having a fun villain. I just thought that was handled really well. Pennywise was terrifying, and I think the villain is what makes this book the classic that it is. But overall, the plot and the characters work together so well, it's really just makes for an incredible read. I couldn't recommend it enough. Did I feel like it was a little long? Yeah. Could it have been shortened? Absolutely. But none of that really hurt the pacing too much. It did take a little bit to get started. Aside from an incredible opening, my favorite moment was by far the opening scene with Georgie at the storm drain. That scene was incredible. After that, it was like 200 pages of a lot of introduction before it got started again. But then once it picks back up, it doesn't let down really again. So overall, it was just an incredible read, and I just really enjoyed it, and I'd easily give it 5 stars. Also, one extra thing I want to note, if you're reading it for the first time, when you get to one of the later chapters and all the kids are in the sewers and they kind of get lost and they can't find their way back out again, when that moment happens where they're trying to figure out how to find their way out, just skip the next 10 pages. Just trust me.
Trust me.
It's the right thing to do. Skip 10 pages, you'll be a lot happier.
And as you can see, I'm a lot happier.
So that's all I got for you today, guys. I hope you liked the review. If you liked it, subscribe to my channel and let me know in the comments what you thought of it if you've read it and what other Stephen King book I should read or review next. I'll see you next time.
Beep, beep,